And yes, so guys, you saw the debate. I saw the debate. We've been talking about it for a while. My process sort of goes like this. I was thinking for the longest time. I've seen the decline in Joe Biden mentally and his faculties and his abilities. Everyone who's got eyes has seen it. It's just been a debate as to whether or not he should step aside, he should be pulled, he should be replaced, or can he follow through and complete this campaign and beat Trump and all those great things. So I said initially, no way, he's got to step down, he's got to be replaced. I said that months ago when this campaign was just getting started. I sort of came around into the middle ground when he started to creep up. The polls started to even. It looked like more like a 50-50 race. And, was still basically just sort of acquiescing to the fact that, look, he's going to be very stubborn. The Democrats are not going to replace him. And that's how this is going to be. And we're just going to have to live with it. That is over now. We saw the debate. It was worse than it was somehow worse than anybody could have expected. And he set his actual expectations a little higher because he performed so well at the State of the Union, and we got nothing like that last night. It was just a complete disaster. It looks like he used up the last bit of juice that he had on the State of the Union, and whatever he showed up with last night was just an absolute and utter disaster. And basically, it was obvious from the very first question, and I'll just show just a minute or two into the debate. To me, it was absolutely clear that this thing was going to be a disaster, and it certainly was.
More than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
First of all, the blank stare as if something is coming at him so horrifying, but yet he doesn't quite understand it, and he's sort of doddering away, and he gets hit with the question, and he's just not able to command it at all.
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me.
The voice is shot. I don't know if he did too much debate prep or if he actually had a cold, like some people were saying. I don't really buy it. But
we had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled.
And you can see Trump having the same, he's sharp in some ways in terms of, his sort of social acuity and his ability to understand the room and the market and the situation. Trump understood right away that he was about to have a feast. He knew Biden was crumbling from the very first sentences.
Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought on...
He said 15,000. He obviously meant 15 million. He's sort of jumping between talking points, and it's like he wanted to attack Trump on talking about injecting bleach, but he didn't really deliver the line. You can't really hear him. You're focused on, what's going on with his voice. Is he sick? Is he dying? What's going on? And you just lose the whole answer, and he sort of just fades away.
The position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs, but there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of a household where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
There's something about that delivery that just he's presenting some substantive things in terms of drug prices and housing, but it's like you almost don't hear it, or it's like it's not landing, it's not sticking. It's one point goes to the next, and that sort of gravelly, faded voice distracts from what's being said, and it's really it's a shame. He's just not. There's nothing there to push and present and fight for what he's done, which he has done some good things, but we don't know what's happened, and it's just that in a nutshell. And let's see what
Thank you,
Trump
President
gets a response.
Never done so well. The economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, a bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely.
It's like, I despise Trump and the things that he says and does and stands for, and his presidency would be a disaster. But if I'm watching objectively, this is someone who's lively. He's not being belligerent. He's clearly reined in. He's sort of speaking matter of fact, speaking confidently. And what can you say? He's presenting himself as he needs to, and Biden did the exact opposite. I thought that was like a water stain. It's just the shadow on the tide. But so this is where we're at, and obviously the talk after was what a triumph Trump had, what a disaster Biden did. This is probably going to be the one and only debate between these two. Whether that's because Trump just decides, we don't need to do another one. Let's just leave it at that, which they probably should. And it's time to replace Biden. And that's what everybody's talking. Lots of people have been talking about it. It's just how many of the actual people in positions of power. And does Biden himself realize this? There's only one person that's standing in the way, really, of this becoming a reality. If he doesn't step down, his whole thing was, I'm going to run for president to stop Donald Trump, and he did that. And you won, and you got in there, you kicked him out, and you did the thing, and you passed some good legislation in terms of domestic chip production and drug prices and gun regulation and all kinds of infrastructure. It's time to step aside, let someone else do the job that you did in terms of beating this guy, and let's move forward. Let's end this whole Trump thing. But as long as you're there in the way, it's never going to happen. Because you're going to lose. And now it's become completely obvious. So what are the options? What are our options? I think there are three options in terms of people that can legitimately win the nomination for the Democrat ticket and go on to beat Donald Trump. Number one, Gretchen Whitmer, governor from Michigan. Number two, Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania. Gavin Newsom, I have sort of waiting in the wings, and he's sort of been hanging around. I don't know if he is the guy that could win a national election. Maybe any generic Democrat could beat Trump at this point. I don't think of the three, he's my favorite. I don't know exactly all the details of where everyone stands on every single issue. These are three of the more prominent Democrats at the moment with good energy and likability. I'd say probably Whitmer and Shapiro on a ticket together would be actually a very good, excuse me, would be a very strong ticket. Whether it's Whitmer president, Shapiro VP, I think probably Whitmer has more name recognition at this point. And being from Michigan or Pennsylvania, obviously, is a very big help in those being swing states. Newsom, I would say, probably could stay to the side for now. But again, he's quite prominent in the national sphere. So those would be the three that would be at the top. Kamala is obviously there, but I don't know if she is quite ready, being that she's almost as unpopular as Biden. And who knows? But again, anybody would have a chance to beat Trump that's not named Joe Biden right now, because he's just over whatever the expression is. His time is done. He can hardly speak. He looked exhausted. He looked lost. He looked faded, and you can't have it. Nobody's going to want to go out and vote for that. It's a danger. Honestly, it's dangerous because you have somebody who's compromised, and now it looks like that's more of a conversation, not just nationally but internationally as well. So that's my thoughts on that. Absolute disaster, worse than I could have expected. I mean, I thought that it was going to be, Biden sort of hanging in there, just doing his thing, like he did at the State of the Union. Because why not? That was only a couple of months ago, no? So, and it was not good. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see what happens in the next few days, few weeks, how the conversation goes, and hope to God that they pull Joe Biden and replace him with somebody younger, stronger, and that is actually ready to take this fight forward and beat Donald Trump, because whatever happens, we can't have that again. So that's it. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.